Good morning. We're in Acts 10, starting with verse 30, going to verse 34. And Cornelius said, 4 days ago, about this hour, I was praying in my house at the ninth hour, and behold, a man stood before me in bright clothing, and said, Cornelius, your prayer has been heard, and your alms have been remembered before God. Now, the alms, of course, is the gifts that he gave to the poor. Prayer, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is a common time for prayer. And here the answer comes at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And Jesus died at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and answered all prayers. It's interesting to note that Cornelius was not a Christian in this sense, and he had not yet been born again. He was not yet regenerated. Yet, in this case, God heard the prayers and remembered his generosity to others. The angelic appearance is in bright clothing and gave a message from God. The singular prayer is heard, fuller light and fuller knowledge of the truth. Send, verse 32, therefore, to Joppa and ask for Simon, who's called Peter. He is lodging in the house of Simon, a tanner by the sea. So I sent for you at once, and you have been kind enough to come. Now therefore we are all here in the presence of God to hear all that you have been commanded by the Lord. Peter's living the dream. I mean, he's got an audience. The audience is attentive, and the Holy Spirit has well prepared them, not hostile. The message Peter was about to preach is had great preparation. Peter was prepared by the Holy Spirit. Cornelius's house was prepared to hear the message by the Holy Spirit, and the blessing greatly increased as when we hear what the message is. So Peter opened his mouth and said, "Truly I understand that God shows no partiality." Now, this whole thing it's interesting that the foundation of Peter's understanding that the gospel should go forth to the Gentiles, this statement goes completely against the prevailing Jewish thought at the time. And God does not show partiality to the Jews against the Gentiles. In essence, many of the Jews of Peter's day thought that God loved the Jews while hating the Gentiles. And we're going to look a little bit further at this in a couple of days.